Hi guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today you are tuning into my Q2 reading wrap up. Yes, it is time. I can't believe we're already going into Q3. I don't know where the time is going, but you know what? I am locked in. Okay, locked in. I'm locked in for Q3 and Q4. Okay, so that means more YouTube videos on a schedule. Okay, that means more TikToks and Bookstagram posts on a schedule. All right, starting with this one right here. All right, so let's get into it. So you already know I have all of my handy dandy stats on my beautiful iPad. Let's get into it. First and foremost, let's get into my stats from Q2. Okay, so I read a whopping 29 books, which is crazy. That's one more book than I read last quarter, so that's cool. I listened to 9 audiobooks, which is crazy because in my last quarterly video, I had only listened to 1 audiobook and that was my first audiobook. So now I'm like, me and audiobooks are like this. We're good. We're good. I really am messing with them. But I can really only listen to like memoirs, and that's what I've been listening to lately, which is kind of weird, but whatever. I really like memoirs. Also, I'm kind of dipping my toe into like other audiobooks, so I think it just depends on the genre, maybe. I read 18 books on my Kindle. Yep. And then 2 physical books. All right, so the total pages I read was 7,999 pages. And the total audio that I listened to is 86 hours and 56 minutes. Wowza. All right. I had 6 5-star reads, which is more than I had last quarter, I think. I had 14 4-star reads, 8 3-star reads, 1 1-star read, and then 0 1 stars. So that's good because I never want to give a book 1 star, you know? Like, I don't ever want to give a book lower than 3 stars, but sometimes you have to. Sometimes it gets to a point. Going into my monthly wrap-ups for all of the months. In April, I read 7 books. In May, I read 11 books. And in June, I read 11 books as well. So fun stuff. Let's get into... Oh my gosh, guys. I don't know how I forgot to say this. This should have been the first thing I said. Okay, the very first thing that I said, I hit my yearly reading goal, y'all. Oh my gosh, I think I hit it in May, and I'm so excited. My yearly goal was 36 books. I'm currently sitting at 57 books. That's bonkers. That's bonkers to me because I've said this multiple times. Last year, the whole year, I only read 30 books. I'm about to double how many books I read in a year in like 6 months. So that's just so amazing to me. And it's really awesome. I've been trying so hard to like really focus on reading and not like doom scrolling and like mainly doom scrolling, okay? I'm trying to really cut out all my doom scrolling and focus on like reading or like other hobbies. Like I want to get into scrapbooking and junk journaling and all that fun creative stuff. You know, I want to focus more on my YouTube, you know, my Bookstagram and like my TikTok. I want to focus on like creating content and not focus on like taking it all in. You need to create more than you consume. And right now I'm definitely consuming more than I'm creating. And that's not it. I need to create more than I consume, or even just do anything more than I consume. So I'm super happy about that. So I really want to do a video celebrating my reading goal sometime soon. I'll think about what I want to do to celebrate and then I'll make a video on it. I'm not sure what I want to do yet, so stay tuned. So there's that. My updated most read authors this year so far. So actually we now have Abby Jimenez in the #1 spot. I've read 4 of her books this year so far. I love that crazy lady. She's not crazy, but I love her. I love her books so much. I really do. If you can see right here, this is her newest release from this year. I haven't read it yet. I'm kind of nervous because I've heard mixed reviews about it. And I think it's kind of like not like her other books. So I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm still going to read it. That's why I bought it. But just, I'm a little nervous. And then next is Emily McFadden with 3 books. And then Emily Henry, Hannah Boehm Young, and Kennedy Ryan, and Kimberly Brown are all tied for 3rd because I've only read 2 books from each of them. So, okay. My average rating this year so far is 3.9. I think it was at 3.9 last quarter, so nothing's really changed. And then I also want to add my Fable reading summary. I forgot to add it in my last video, so I want to do it moving forward. My current reader summary on Fable is Love Transformer. Your books all contain love stories and self-discovery. Through your stories, you've seen how love can expand our perspective. I don't know if I really like that. I think it's going based off of because I've read so many romances and also because I'm reading a lot of memoirs. So I think that's where the summary is coming from. Also to say, my most read genres this year so far. Romance is coming in the top spot. I've read 23 romance books this year, which is crazy because I personally don't think that I'm like that big of a romance fan, but that seems to be the genre that I'm gravitating to mostly nowadays. So I don't know. That's really interesting. I think I just haven't really found a thriller that's like making me want to read it, but I recently got some new ones because I specifically went shopping for thrillers and mysteries. So hopefully I'll get back into thrillers because it is coming in at my next top genre, and that's 17 books for thrillers. And then, like I said, I've been on a autobiography kick, and I have 8 books that I've read that are biographies. So those are my top 3 genres of the year so far. Those are all my stats for Q2 so far. Actually, no, Q2 is over. So those are all of my stats for Q2. Let's get into talking about these books, okay? Because you know. If you don't know, now you do. I want to yap. About some books. So let's get into it. So let's get into my 5-star reads of Q2. All right. First up, in no particular order, The Wedding People by Allison S. Batch. Oh my gosh. This book, chef kiss, a work of art. Honestly, truly. What's crazy is that I was going to DNF this book. I was going to DNF it. I think I was like maybe 25% in, 30% in, and it just wasn't giving. It wasn't doing anything for me. And I was like, I've heard so many great things about this book, and now I'm reading it and it's quiet. I'm like, I don't understand why everyone loves this book so much. It took a while for me to kind of like Allison's writing. And also I think it's written in 3rd person, and I don't think I really like 3rd person. And so it was just kind of like a struggle for me to get into. But I pushed through because it just started to take a turn, and I was like, okay, maybe I need to just like stay and give it a little, let me just try. Because I also got this off of Libby, and I have been waiting for it for at least a month or so, maybe like 6 weeks, 6-ish weeks. I don't know. I think I can check on Libby. So I kept going, and I'm really happy because it's a 5-star for me. It's a 5-star. It took a turn, and it took a turn for the absolute best. I mean, this had me laughing. I'm pretty sure I teared up a little bit. Every single character is so well written. Okay, especially the main character. Like, I did not like her in the beginning. I didn't, but somehow she made her way into my heart. I don't know. It was just all around. It was so good. And I'm really, really happy that I stayed with it and kept reading it because it has become like probably one of my favorite reads of this year, for sure. Let me look, y'all, because I really want to know how long I waited for it. No, it doesn't say. I wonder why it doesn't tell me. It doesn't have a date on when I borrowed it. So that's annoying. But anyways, yeah. I waited a while, and so it was just all around really good. I loved it. Loved it. All right. Next up, I have Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. So this is the 3rd book in the Part of Your World series. I say series because they are interconnected standalones, so you can read them in order, out of order. You can read 2 of them, don't read the third one, whatever your vibe is, okay? Anyways, I have read all 3 of them. I love this series down. Love it down. Abby Jimenez, you ate that one little thing up, okay? So Just for the Summer was so beautifully written, and I really, really loved Emma and Justin's relationship, watching it grow. The 3rd act made me want to punch something, but it all worked out in the end, as it always does. But I think that, and it also made me really mad because there is a scene in it, and it not mad, but it really upset me. I think that Abby was able to have a lot of themes in this book that are kind of hard to deal with, and she communicated them so well through the characters. Okay. And I think that's such a talent to have, because they are some hard topics to be like discussing and to be like going through if you've ever gone through something like that. And so I think it was really awesome at how well written the characters were to be able to convey these emotions of these crazy circumstances that they're in. Loved all the characters, of course, as always. And yeah, it was just so good. Again, it had me laughing. It had me upset. It had me thinking like of things differently in a different way or some things. Yeah, it was just, that's all I got. It was just good. Go read it and let me know. Now we have Will by Will Smith with Mark Manson. So this is Will Smith's autobiography, and it was chef kiss. It was so good. I'm so happy that I listened to it, because it was truly like a whole production, and I loved that. It was so good. I learned so much about Will Smith that I did not know. Mind you, I love Will Smith. He is probably my favorite actor. Anything he's in, I'm going to go see it. So he, to me, is like one of the biggest movie stars, and he says that multiple times throughout the book, which, I feel like he has the accolades and he has the films to back it up. So go on, Will. Anyways, this was a 5-star read for me, just because, like I said, I listened to it and it was a whole production, and I absolutely loved it. I think that it truly opened my mind to Will Smith, like as Will. I think his name, like his full name was like Willard something Smith the Third or something like that. So he really I can just tell that he put like his all into this book. It was probably super freeing to be able to put his story from like birth to now in, book form and in audio form, to be able to just get his story out there. And yeah, I really, really love that. I think he was super open, super honest. And like I said, I learned so much. He's still one of my favorite actors. Rapper, I don't know about his new stuff. I need to listen some more, okay? But yeah, so I love that he's able to still do what he wants to do at his age and just kind of like have fun with it, He's not necessarily retired, but he's just chilling. And I love that so much. So loved this book. If you are going to read this, I would definitely recommend listening to the audiobook. I don't think that I would have rated this 5 stars if I didn't listen to the audiobook. I think if I just read it physical or like on my Kindle, I would have probably given it 4 stars. But audio, next level. It was so good. It was so, so good. So next up is the book that actually started off my whole memoir kick that I've been going through lately, and that is I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. Oh my gosh. This book is so heartbreaking and raw and real, and it truly put in perspective to me what child actors like go through. Obviously, this is not every single child actor's experience, but it's a very real experience that a lot of child actors go through, for sure. I feel like we've heard this story, tons of times of, these children are being taken advantage of and they're not looked after like they should be by all of these adults around them. These are children. They need to be loved and protected, and more often than not, that's not happening. So it was really, really eye-opening. Okay, yeah, this book was very eye-opening and like kind of like heart-wrenching to hear what she has gone through throughout her time before Nickelodeon, also during Nickelodeon. It's just so crazy that some of the best television years of my life, like she was going through so much behind doors, and it goes to show you that you just really don't know what people are going through. So yeah, I think it just opened my eyes. Overall, it was really good, and I know that for her, again, it had to be so freeing to put pen to paper and write out all of her feelings and everything that she's been going through the past however many years. I mean, I'm pretty sure this is like the time span of like 10, 15 years, I think. I don't know for sure. It's her whole life story, actually, from the beginning. So I don't know how old she was when she wrote this book, but she was probably like 30 at least when she wrote it. So the past like 30 years to get all of that out had to be so liberating. And I also listened to this audiobook, and she was the narrator, and I think that definitely put a different level to it also, because you can just feel that she's like remembering the things that she's reading as she's narrating, you know, like there's a lot of thought and feeling into it as well. So it was really good. I loved it, and I really hope that she is on the path to healing. If not, she's, you know, already healed through everything that she's gone through, because she deserves everything in the world and more. I don't know, whatever she wants, give it to her, please. Okay? Thank you. My next 5-star read is a read that I feel like should be required reading for everybody. That's how good I think it is. Okay? And that is The Reformatory by Tananarive. So this is a book that I was going to DNF. I think I was maybe like halfway through ish. I would give it like 40%. Maybe, okay, so 40 to 50%. And I was like, also, this is a very long book. I think it's almost 500 pages, if not 500 pages. Like, it's so long. I think this is the longest book I've read this year so far. And I think that also is what was making me want to DNF it. I was like, this is a long book. It felt like it was going so slow. Also, the main characters are children. They're children, and they were making not smart choices. And I don't like characters that make dumb choices, which is like almost every single character all the time. In every single book, they always make dumb choices. But it was just so hard for me to get through, because I'm like, oh my God, these kids are making me insane. Like, what is going on? But it turned around. It turned around, and it became so much more than just a story. It's so beautifully written, and I feel like Tananarive really brought to life these characters. And I think that even though this was such a tough story, because I cried while reading this, I think I cried probably like 2 or 3 times, it had to be written. And it's so important, which is why I feel like it should be like required reading, because it tells multiple stories that need to be told from, you know, long before. And I think also I'm not usually a historical fiction type of girl. So I think that, I don't know if that is what this would be considered. It's like historical fiction / horror, maybe. I don't know. I wouldn't really say that's, no. It's definitely some horror in it. So I don't know. But overall, it was really good. Even though I almost DNF'd it, I'm really glad I didn't, because it, again, is such an incredible story. And so I think that regardless of it being a little bit slow and longer than it needed to be, in my opinion, it was still so good. And that's why I decided to go ahead and give it the 5-star, because it was just like, I feel like any book that I almost DNF'd and it somehow hooked me back in, it's like an instant 5-star. Because I used to not be quick to DNF, but now I am quick to DNF, because I'm just not wasting my time reading a book that I obviously don't want to read, you know? So yeah. That's not the case though, because there are some books that I almost DNF'd and I finished and I'm like, I should have DNF'd this, but this is not one of those books. This is a 5-star read. Okay. Last but certainly not least, my final 5-star read of Q2 is The Rural Diaries by Hilary Burton Morgan. Okay, so if you don't know, I am a huge One Tree Hill fan. Okay, I'm originally from North Carolina. I grew up going to Wilmington. Me and my best friend love it. It's probably the only TV show that I can like actually sit and rewatch no matter how many times. It's like I'm watching it the first time. I love that series down. So obviously, I love me some Hillary and Sophia and Bethany, okay? You know I love my girls down. So once I started getting into memoirs, I was like, oh my gosh, Hillary has a memoir, let me listen to it. And I loved it. It was a 5-star read for me. I learned so much about her and about her time on One Tree Hill and just about her life now after like acting and whatnot. I don't know what exactly made this a 5-star read for me, but I just know that it's a 5-star read. It's a 5-star read. Like, it was just so beautifully well written. There were some moments in the book that really had me emotional, and I just thought it was so amazing for her to share everything that she's gone through. And yeah, it was just so good. It was just so good. I just loved it so much. And also I think there were like some recipes in it, and I think I love books that have recipes in them, so I really liked that. And I think that that's kind of what I want to do, you know, later in life. It's kind of just like leave everything behind and go settle down on like a farm and have my chickens and my horses and my goats and make jam and go to the farmer's market. Like, that just appeals to me. And so I really liked hearing how, you know, they got their farm and this and that and the third. So yeah, this concludes all of my 5-star reads for Q2. So I had 14 4-star reads for this quarter. Again, in no particular order. Actually, I do think these are in the order that I read them. Anyways, starting off strong with my 4-star reads, I am going to be talking about Behind the Forecast by Evie Daniels. I loved this book. I loved this book. It was so good. I was actually an ARC reader for it, and I loved the author. I loved her writing. I loved the storyline, the characters, chef kiss. I also really liked the premise of the novel because it was about 2 coworkers. They work at a news station, and like one of them is a weather person at the news station. Anyway, and the other person does something else. Anyways, I thought that was so cool because I don't think I read a book where the characters like work at a news station. So I was like, oh, that's different. That's really cool. And they kind of like incorporated weather throughout the book a little bit here and there. The only reason why this is not a 5-star read for me is that it was too short. I did a reading vlog for this also, and I said it in my reading vlog, and Evie subscribes to me, and so if she sees this, Evie, babe, it was too short. It was too short. It was too short. I also feel like I forget what I said in my reading vlog, y'all, because I read it a while ago, but I also knocked the star off for something else, but I forgot. I said it in my reading vlog, but the main thing is that it was too short. And yeah. Next, we have James by Percival Everett. This was one of my most anticipated reads of this year. I got it off of Libby and I waited quite some time for it from what I remember. I was super excited to read it. I rated it 4 stars just because everyone said that you do not need to read The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn before reading this book. But I think that it would be really helpful to even just like read the synopsis, because I did read Huckleberry Finn like years ago. I'm talking like 8-10 years ago. Okay. So it's been a while. So I didn't even look up like the premise of it. I just went into James based off of like what I remember from reading it a while that long ago. So I think what would have helped me with understanding and really digesting this book is if I would have just gotten just ever so slightly just refreshed my memory on Huckleberry Finn. And so that's why I'm rating it 4 stars, is because I just feel like I wasn't able to connect with this book like I really wanted to, or like it's intended, maybe, because I just didn't have the background from Huckleberry Finn. That's all. But it was really good. I'm not a historical fiction girl, but I really enjoyed this book. I really enjoyed Percival's writing and just the story in general. I was like, oh my gosh, what is going to happen next? Are they going to make it? Like, it was high action, I feel like. Maybe it started off like the teeniest bit of slow, but I feel like even like the little bit of slowness was just like maybe the first 2 chapters. And like after that, it was like hit the foot, hit the gas, running. I don't know how that saying goes, but something like that, okay? It won the freaking Pulitzer Prize. Like, this is a good book. So I definitely think you should read it, and just kind of, if you're going to read it, just refresh your memory on Huckleberry Finn. I don't think you need to read The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, but I think you should definitely probably refresh your memory. If you've read it, or if you haven't read it, just skim through the plot line, spark note it, I don't know, something, okay? And so, as I said already, I'm a huge One Tree Hill fan. So, you know, if I read Hillary's memoir, I have to read Bethany's memoir. Okay, so next up is Dinner for Vampires by Bethany Joy Lenz. This was a 4-star read just because it pissed me off. Quite frankly, it just pissed me off because I was listening to it and I was like, girl, what are we doing? What are we doing? I'm just really happy that she is away and she has gotten the things that she's needed. I'm sure she's been in tons of counseling and therapy and this, and the third, and on her healing journey. I thoroughly enjoyed it though, and it was really cool to hear, you know, a little bit about her time on the show, but also it was really interesting to hear everything that was going on for her behind the show. I mean, she was going through it. She was really going through it. And again, like going back to like discussing about like Jeanette McCurdy being on iCarly and going through so many things, it's like, it's so crazy to look back and see, like for me to go and rewatch One Tree Hill and knowing that I know now from having listened to her book, it's like, wow, I can only imagine like the mental gymnastics that like she had to be going through to be able to show up every single day the way that she did for the TV show and for like the fans of the show and for her co-stars and everything. Like, that's a strong woman. That really is. And so, yeah. Now we have One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. Okay. So this is a fantasy novel. My best friend recommended it to me. She read it and she rated it 5 stars, I think. So she was like, read it, check it out, let me know what you think. I was like, okay, I don't really read fantasy, but you my girl, so I'm a tap in and see. So this was slow as hell to me. This was so slow, and I feel like I was going to DNF it, but I didn't. And I think I got it from Libby, and I think like I finished it with like a day or 2 to spare before it needed to be returned. And usually that never happens. I actually pride myself on like getting my Libby books back like very early because I know people are waiting for them. So I'm like, let me immediately, I'm gonna borrow it and I'm gonna read it, I'm gonna return it. It took me so long to get through this book, but it ended up being so good. I'm actually waiting for the second book. I'm actually going to listen to the second one audio version because I think also what made it so hard for me to get through this book is that I don't usually read fantasy because it's a lot of world building. It's a lot of, you have to explain a lot of different things because like it's a made up world. So you can't just kind of like dive in like this happens, this, like you have to build out the world. And I feel like that takes so long. But anyway, it was really good. The ending was crazy. That's what I remember. The ending was crazy as hell. Okay. And yeah. So I'm excited to read the second book. And yeah, it wasn't a 5-star for me because I just didn't like how slow it was in the beginning. And it took me too long to get through it. And then also it was kind of like a lot to keep up with, which is why I don't read fantasy like that. Okay. But yeah, you should check it out though. Next is Funny Story by Emily Henry. So this was my very first book that I've read by Emily Henry, and yep. I'm gonna give her 10s on that one. This was a funny ass book, bro. This was so funny. I was laughing the whole time. the characters were so cute and funny. It was kind of a slow burn, I think. And I think that's why I didn't rate it 5 stars, is that it was just a little too slow for me. I really do like Emily Henry's writing, but then again, I read another book by her and I didn't really like it that much. So I don't know. The girlies be gassing her up, but I'm still indifferent about her. But overall, I really did like this book. I liked the premise and the characters. They were all really funny. I feel like there was something else I didn't like about it, but I don't remember. I also did a reading vlog for this, so I'll link that below too. You can just watch my reactions in that one as well. That's all I got for that one. And my last 4-star read of Q2 is Till Summer Do Us Part by Megan Quinn. So I read this in a book club that I'm in on Fable, which I'll link below because I absolutely love it. It's like the only book club that I have been in consistently that like we all read the same book and discuss it. My girl Brianna, she's like the moderator for it and I love it. I've read, I think, 3 books with it now, and like you don't have to read every single book that they read. I think this is the first book that I'm reading with them since like 2 months ago or something like that. Like I do not read every single month with them, which is really cool because you can just kind of drop in whenever you want. And so I loved this book. I loved it. This is my first book that I'm reading by Megan Quinn, and I am super excited to continue reading her. I really liked her writing style and I really liked this book. It was so cute, so witty. The banter between them, chef kiss. What I didn't like is that they kept mentioning the main character's ex-husband like way more often than I felt was needed. That's just my opinion. And it was a little bit slow. So I didn't really like that. But because again, it took me some time to get into it. I don't know what it was, but it was just like the first like 20-25%, maybe 30% was just dragging for me. I was like, what is going on? But once I like sat down and I really was like, okay, I'm gonna finish this book because I wanted to discuss it in the book club. It hooked me in and it was good. It was great. I loved it. And so I definitely will be reading more by Megan Quinn. And those are all of my 4-star reads for Q2. Now let's get into my 3-star reads of Q2. Starting off with one of my most anticipated reads of this year that was kind of a letdown, and that is going to be The Perfect Divorce by Geneva Rose. So I read The Perfect Marriage last year, I believe, and that was a 5-star read for me. I loved it. I ate it up. Okay, so when I found out later that year that Geneva Rose was going to be coming out with the second book in this series, I was like, oh, what? Because I think The Perfect Marriage was published quite some time ago. So I don't think anybody thought that she was going to write another novel, like a sequel to it. So I was like, oh, let's get it. And then I read it and I was like, oh, maybe let's not get it. So I ended up rating this a 3.5 and it just missed the mark for me. It was kind of very predictable. I kind of predicted like almost every twist. I saw like every single one of them coming. That was the main thing, is that it was kind of predictable. And then also the main character, Sarah, she's kind of crazy. She's kind of insane, which I love, but I feel like maybe this book, she was, I don't know, something about her. I was like, we maybe need to get her like in the loony bin. I don't know. She was just doing a lot. But I love that, but also I don't know. I think my biggest gripe with this book is that it was predictable. It was very predictable. But I enjoyed it. But yeah, so that was a 3.5, but I'm putting it in the 3 tier because it's a 3.5. So that's a 3-star to me. That's all. So what's funny is I talked about the first book in this series in Q1, and now I read the second book in the series in Q2, and that is Out of the Woods by Hannah Boehm Young. I read the first book in the series, which is Out on a Limb, and I loved that. It was 5 stars. That was my very first audiobook I ever listened to, and I loved it. It was so good. This book, I don't know, maybe if I would have listened to it, it would have been a different vibe. I think it would have. I should have listened to it, but I didn't. And I don't know, it was kind of slow to start. It took me a lot longer to get into it than I thought it would. I thought I was going to just like read the first chapter, read the first page and just like be like, yes, I can't wait to get into it. But it was just kind of slow. And honestly, I didn't really like the main character. She was irritating me most of the book. But it was still really good. I really like Hannah's writing and I like her storytelling. And yeah, it tugged on my heartstrings a little bit. There was a whole situation towards the end. I didn't know what was going to happen. I was going to rate it like 2 stars. If she did what I was thinking she was going to do, I would have rated this 2 stars because it would have pissed me off really bad. But everything worked out as it always does usually, and it was really good. I loved the epilogue. So yeah, it was just a fun, cute little read. Next, let's discuss Happy Place by Emily Henry. So this was a 3-star for me because it pissed me off. It pissed me off so bad. It didn't even make any sense why she was doing it this way. I don't know. It made me really, really irritated. And so I knocked a lot of stars off for that because it just didn't make, the story to me didn't really make any sense. I like Emily Henry's writing. I do. But I don't know if I would read another book by her. I will, but I think I need to be careful which one I read because if I read another book by her that's like a 3-star, then I'm going to just be like, I'm good. I don't need to read any more books by you. So I think I just need to be very careful which book I read by her next because it's kind of make or break. The characters were irritating. The plot was irritating. I think it was also dual timeline. We were going like back and forth, I think. From what I remember, it's been a while since I read this. And y'all know I don't like going back and forth in timelines. It just, my brain just can't do it. So yeah, that was something. But yeah, I still liked it. It won me over in the end, but like 80% of the book I was irritated. So another anticipated read that let me down, The Missing Half by Ashley Flowers with Alex Kaiser. I recently finished this book, so this is like right here in the front of my mind. This book irritated me and it pissed me off. And I think Ashley Flowers likes to do that. I think that because I read her debut novel, All Good People Here, and I did a reading vlog for that book also. And that ending irritated and pissed me off. And so I think that's like her thing. Maybe, I don't know, but it seems like she likes to irritate her readers. That's what it's giving. That's what it's giving because this whole book from start to finish was just, ooh, that's what I felt like. I was just like, girl, like the main character was pissing me off and then the ending pissed me off and it was just like, what are we trying to do here? What are we trying to do here? The plot sounded so good. It sounded so good. And I guess how it ended is kind of the only way it could have ended that made a little bit of sense. No, actually the ending, no, honestly, none of it made sense to me. It didn't. I would have rather she did it a whole different way. Anyways, I'm not going to go into it. But yeah, this was a 3-star for me, which was kind of disappointing because I really liked All Good People Here except for the ending. I rated All Good People Here 4 stars. So when I heard that she was coming out with her next novel, I was like, oh, I can't wait. The premise sounded so good. And then I read it and I was like, I don't know. So I don't know if I'd read another book by her because I'm not in the business of being pissed off. I don't want to read a book and be pissed off. I don't want to do that. So now that that's a pattern with her, it seems like I don't know if I will read her next book, but I probably will because I do like her writing. And I like that she kind of takes pieces from real like true crime cases and like rewrites them in her book. So I do like that aspect. So I don't know, but it was a 3-star. Yeah. So the last 3-star book of Q2 that I want to discuss is Annibot by Sierra Greer. So this was also an anticipated read for me. It's been out a while, but I've just heard lots of things about it. And I was like, okay, I really want to read this. So I got it off of Libby and I think I waited quite some time, maybe like 6-7 weeks. And then I also pushed the hold back quite a few times because I wasn't ready to read it. And I also didn't realize how short this book is. I think it's under 300 pages. It's like 280. So it's a super quick read. I think I read it in a day or a day and a half. And this was a 3.5 for me. I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting, but what I read was not whatever I was expecting, if that makes sense. I didn't necessarily like the ending. It was very much giving Barbie. If you watched the Barbie movie, it was definitely giving like Barbie. And in kind of a little bit, I read a couple reviews that like kind of compared it to that movie, and I was like, okay, I definitely can see that. So I did like the writing, and I liked how short it was. I think it was like very quick to the point, and so that was good. Like I said, I don't know what I was expecting, but I wasn't expecting that, and it just didn't meet what I thought. Whatever it was that I thought. I know that doesn't really make any sense, but it makes sense to me, so I'm sorry. That's all I got. But overall, it was a good book, I think, for sure. So I only have one 2-star book for Q2, so let's just get into it. Alrighty, my 2-star book of Q2 is Credence by Penelope Douglas. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, this book, I rated it 2.5 stars. I honestly don't know why. This book was a lot. It was a lot. I think it's just a little too far out there for me. This was a doozy. Raunchy. It's spicy. It's a lot. It took me a little bit to get through because I was like, what the hell is going on? So yeah, I'm rating it 2.5 because it just was a little bit more than I bargained for. And I don't think that's anything to do with the author because I actually really like Penelope Douglas, which is why I was like, oh, let me read this. So this is like no tea, no shade to the author because I like Penelope's writing. I like her stories, I think. I've only ever read one other book by her, but this book is not going to deter me from reading other books by her because I really do like her as an author. So, you know, you're not going to like everything by everybody. So that's it on that book. Okay, guys, and that concludes everything I read in Q2 of 2025, all my stats for Q2 2025, and all that jazz. So if you made it this far, comment below how many books you read in Q2. And if you have a reading goal for this year, I would love to know. That's all I got. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.